So before the Canucks game yesterday against the Colorado Avalanche, my family had on the Islanders and the Oilers game in our household. I don't watch too many Oilers games, but they're on TV a lot, so I have them on in the background once in a while. And when it comes to the way this Oilers team has been playing, the game yesterday against the Isles really opened my eyes to a conversation that I wanted to have here on the channel today. Let's go over just how Superman-like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl have been, while the rest of the team really isn't doing much to pull their weight. Now, I know it's been kind of a meme, and it's been kind of the status quo for a while now that the Oilers have been a quote-unquote two-player team. It's Draisaitl and it's McDavid. It's those two guys and everybody else. For the most part, I think a lot of people could agree that there have been other players coming in here in the Oilers organization who have been good, and it hasn't necessarily been only a two-player team. It's just kind of like that for the memes. But this time around, I feel like with the Oilers and their recent struggles, this two-player team sort of sentiment is starting to reign true more so than ever before. Let's go over to the NHL standings and see what's up with the Edmonton Oilers, as right now, in the divisional race, they are... Where's that Pacific division? Come on, let's go. In the Pacific right now, the Oilers are 5th with 20 points in 20 games played. They're 3-7-0 in their last 10, and they've lost 2 games in a row in regulation. They have a negative goal differential, which is kind of nuts when you consider just how good Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl have been. But at the same time, this is kind of where goaltending comes to help you as well. Stuart Skinner, unfortunately, you can't be giving the puck away in your own crease, and Jack Campbell, you gotta go out there and start making some saves. But when it comes to the rest of the team and the scoring depth that the Oilers have at their disposal, this is where things get really, really nutty. But before we go over that, I wanted to talk about McDavid and Draisaitl. First, Connor McDavid this season, in the 20-game sample that he has 16 goals, 19 assists for 35 total points on the year. He is a crazy beast. He's on pace for 144 points and 66 goals. He is first in the NHL in goals. He's tied for first, at least, with Bo Horvat and Jason Robertson. And in terms of points, he is right there at first overall, too. Second overall is actually not Leon Draisaitl, it's that Mr. Robertson himself that we had talked about from the Dallas Stars, but Leon this season in 20 games played has 11 goals and 20 assists for 31 points. He's at an assist per game on the year, and when you do the involvement percentages, I mean, Connor McDavid has 35 points and the Oilers have 66 goals. 35 divided by 66 is a whopping 53% involvement percentage. That means that for every goal scored, Connor McDavid has a point on over half of those goals. And that's not really good. I mean, it's phenomenal from an individual standpoint because any involvement percentage over like 20-25% is considered really good. It's just for a team like the Oilers where most of their offense is coming off the stick of these two guys, things get a little bit wonky when you see where the rest of the lineup is in terms of their overall point production. Going beyond McDavid and Draisaitl, the third highest scorer on the Edmonton Oilers this season is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with 21 points in 20 games played. He is at a point per game, which is in and of itself really good. Hyman is at 19 points in 20 games. Evander Kane, 13 points, 14 games. They're all point per game-ish caliber guys, but if you go over to the rest of the lineup here, and this is what we were talking about when it comes to depth, things get a little bit shady. Here's a tweet from Sid. He's a writer on Oilers Nation. He says, the Oilers have scored at a rate of 1.11 5v5 goals per hour without McDavid and Draisaitl this season. That's the lowest it has ever been in the McDavid-Draisaitl era. For comparison, they scored 1.52 goals per 60 without Draisaitl and McDavid on the ice under Chiarelli from 2017-18 to 2018-19. What this stat essentially means is that the Oilers' depth when McDavid and Draisaitl are not on the ice, They kind of suck. They're scoring 1.11 5v5 goals per 60 minutes, and that is not great. That's one goal every game pretty much at 5v5 when McDavid and Draisaitl are not on the ice. Now, I know you could say, wait a minute, that's kind of cherry-picked. I mean, McDavid and Draisaitl play on the top two lines, and they're not together most of the time, so like, when you say the team without McDavid and Draisaitl is scoring X amount of goals, what you're really referring to is just the third and the fourth line. And, I mean, that's not that bad, right? A third and a fourth line that gets a goal a game, pretty much. And at the same time, in previous years, McDavid and Draisaitl would sometimes play together, so that changes up the equation as well, because in prior years, you could say that McDavid and Draisaitl would be on the first line, and all of a sudden, the production you're getting from the rest of the lineup without them is including the second line that doesn't have them. So maybe it's a cherry-pick stat, maybe it's a little bit misleading, but at the same time, there are some other conversations I wanted to talk about as well. Here's a reply on Sid's tweet. Max says, something is wonky with this bottom six, and it's gone through multiple cycles of players and coaches now. I don't get it. You have Archibald and Kara out here putting up solid relative numbers on new teams, and they would consistently get caved on the Oilers. What gives? Furthermore, there is a reply to this tweet made on the Edmonton Oilers subreddit. Mr.2514 says, I really don't understand how our depth has been as invisible scoring-wise as it's been. I was really excited going into this year with our bottom 6 and 20 games in. It's been really disappointing. EDM Oilers 1123 or 123, excuse me, says it looks even worse when you see Archibald and Kara doing much better on their respective teams. And I don't know what it is, but it feels kind of cathartic seeing that actually happen to another fan base. The entire, oh man, these players were so-so with us, but now they're on another team and they're good. Meanwhile, our guys are not good anymore. What gives, man? Hockey gods, what are you doing? This is the same thing that the Canucks are experiencing with Jason Dickinson, and I know I have to make it about myself and my Vancouver Canucks right away because that's what we do, but at the same time, this is a tale that is directly impacting that of some of the most talented superstars this league has ever seen. McDavid and Draisaitl, I saw yesterday against the Islanders, they were good. Connor McDavid, man, what a crazy good playmaker that guy is. And you don't need me to tell you that. You know how good of a player he is. It's just watching McDavid do the things that McDavid does, all the beautiful setups in front, only for the trailer to shoot the puck up high over the glass or whatever. It's frustrating. And I feel like even though you have guys like Hyman and the Nuge and Evander Kane that are all point-per-game guys, hockey is more than a 6-player sport. You need a little bit extra there. And for some reason, the depth on this team just has not been getting it done. And I don't know what the fix is, you know? Like, you could trade for anybody you want. You could trade for Patrick Kane. You could do whatever. But, like, here's a comment from Decent Foundation 62. I'm going to have to censor this because yeah, we can't put any curse words on YouTube. YouTube doesn't like that. The most frustrating part of this season is just it doesn't make any freaking sense. It seemed like we had a decent top and bottom six going into the season, with a hope/need for a couple of McLeod, Yamamoto, Puljujarvi, or Holloway guys to have decent years, with weakish defense and average goaltending. Instead, the entire team seems to have reacted to McDry getting 2 points a game in the playoffs in the first 15 games of the season by not playing hockey anymore. So, talk in the comments what you think about the Oilers and their situation here with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl being as good as they are, which they are phenomenal. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. It's just the rest of the team around them has been kinda down in the dumps. And, I mean, okay, rest of the team, at least Kane and Hyman and Nugent Hopkins have been okay, but Kane is out, and at the same time, you still need depth to be able to score more than one goal a game in 5v5 60-minute play. But either way, talk in the comments your thoughts. Who has been disappointing? Who you have expected more out of? And what do you think the fix is? In fact, do you even think there's a fix? Do you think you just gotta wait it out for some of these guys like Holloway or Puljujarvi to start scoring and start being productive? And furthermore, when that does happen, who do you think steps up first? Is it Puljujarvi who goes out there and all of a sudden drops a hat-trick game and then he scores at a 30-40 point pace the rest of the year? Is it Yamamoto who comes alive in the same way that he did in the playoffs last season? Is it Holloway who really finds his gear as a rookie? Talk in the comments your thoughts about the Oilers and who you think is going to fix their problems and just your overall thoughts on their situation as a whole. I hope you enjoyed this footage of Trolls 99 and bye.